All right. It's Friday, January 30th already. My God, the times are already going by so quick. Uh-oh. Water's almost ready. That's pissed off. That is a pissed off kettle right there. All right, so I haven't had oatmeal in a while. I try to be careful a little bit with oatmeal just because it kind of bloats me a little bit, but also too, after you work out really hard, it's important to kind of feed your body carbs. It's craving it, it's wanting it. Again, I'm not a professional, but I have read a lot, and I do know quite a bit of stuff about working out. I've been kind of doing it off and on all my life. I like to use Kerrygold butter in it too. I'm a stickler about certain kinds of butter and seed oils and stuff like that. And if you guys don't know anything about that, you should really educate yourself, because seed oil is like horrible. So Kerrygold butter is really, really good for you. And then also too, in my oatmeal, I like to use Baja Gold salt. You know, we always hear that salt's bad for you, salt's bad for you. Table salt is really, really bad for you. Absolutely 100%. There's nothing nutritious in it. But Baja Gold and also Celtic sea salt is good for you too. And I think I have some of that too still left. Yeah. So this is the Celtic sea salt. This is more of a wet gray salt, but it's still really good for you because it's not processed and everything else. I'm sorry if that's hella noisy. Not in the sense of how table salt is. And I don't know why they do that. I never really researched into why companies do so much stuff to salt whenever you can just pick it up out of the ocean or a dried up ocean, or get it out of the mountains like they do with the Himalayan salt. But for some reason, they like to screw up everything. And I'm sure it has something to do with being cheaper, lasting longer. Or there's a product in there that they're trying to take out so they can use it for a different thing or something. But that's probably an easy chat search away to be, or chat GPT search to find out what's going on with it. I also like to use natural 100% honey. Whenever I say natural 100%, I like local. I didn't know this about 2 years ago, but local honey, because I get really bad allergies, and it's pretty much, I mean, like debilitating in some ways too. My eyes get really puffy and everything else. And I tried doing the shots like 25, 30 years ago, and I don't know, man. I couldn't go through the series of shots, and there was so many things. There were like 27 things. There's my number again, 27. There was like 27 things that I was allergic to. So I was like, dang, you know what I mean? So I was like, man, weird stuff too, like black walnut husks. And I'm like, I don't really eat black walnut husks. Why would I be breaking out? But natural honey, natural or local honey. So what happens is the local bees will get into the pollen that's around wherever you're living. And those might be some of the things that you're allergic to. So whenever you have the honey that you're taking a little bit year round, and I don't take it a lot because, obviously honey's still kind of a sugar, but I do like using it in my oatmeal and stuff like that too. And then I use also almond butter. This is a Costco brand, but I like almond butter rather than peanut butter because I already eat peanuts and stuff like that too. But what I like to do is I like to get the local honey, and definitely whenever I'm having like almond butter on toast, I put some honey on it, or almond butter and oatmeal and Kerrygold. And I can't find my cinnamon, man. I'm really ticked off. I had a good jar of cinnamon. I was going to show it to you guys, and I was looking for it, but I got to get ready and go to work and stuff like that too. So I don't know where my cinnamon is, but normally I do a little sprinkle of cinnamon, almond butter, honey, Kerrygold, and that's it. So today's topic is going to be called progressive overload, because I started talking about working out too. But progressive overload is the theory in working out that basically what happens is you're progressively overloading the muscles. You're overloading it. That way you could have growth. And one thing that's kind of trippy is like it's not Peter Attia. It's can't think of his name right now, but he works with Dana White. Oh my God, I don't know why I can't think of his name. But he talks about old age being the progressive pursuit of comfort. And the body, we hear things like what doesn't kill you make you stronger. And that's true to a degree. I mean, obviously too, there's some things that can wear your joints out too. But a broken bone is stronger than what the bone was before. And when it mends correctly, that part of the bone is stronger. So progressive overload is the theory of wherever your limit was, you push it a little bit more. In weightlifting, it's add another 10 pounds to the weight the next week, or another rep to the weight the next week. and you have to track that, and you have to keep doing that over and over and over. That's why bodybuilders, for one, they have the mental focus of an athlete, obviously, because they are athletes, but like just laser focus, and they're just boom, no matter what. The barriers that most common people have in their mind limits their body, and it's always been like that. Like just like with holding your breath, supposedly each and every one of us can hold our breath for like 4 minutes, every one of us. But you get the 2.5 minutes if you can. When you get to, like I do the Gary Brecka, who's the guy that says the progressive or the old age is the pursuit of comfort. So if you've ever held your breath for a long period of time, you think you're dying, but the body can. That's why deep sea divers and stuff like that can train themselves. And what they mean by train themselves is they progressively overload. They get down there, they hold their breath, they look at a timer, they say, okay, I did that, I could do it again. I'm going to add another 10 seconds, add another 10 seconds, and they keep doing that. So progressive overload is about trying to follow a metric and break it, follow a metric and break it, follow a metric and break it, follow a metric and break it. And how I'm going to tie this into basically whenever it comes to recovery from a divorce, that's going to be the same thing too. So progressive overload is basically whenever you like feel like you can't do anything and you're like, this is the end of the rope, I can't get past this hurts too much. You have to set up a small little tiny goal, a little tiny baby goal. It doesn't matter what it is. Today, I am going to drive to Burger King and not go through the drive-through, but just get out and eat in public. You know, that's a small little tiny thing. But to some people, that might be the thing that makes the difference between being a horrible day and maybe getting a little bit of sunshine on your back whenever you're eating inside through the glass and it's on your neck and you're eating some French fries. And, you know, it's small little tiny wins too that's important whenever you're going through this depression and loneliness. You've got to have these little wins, guys. So progressive overload is basically what I want you guys to do is I want you to track what you're doing. I want you to track some small little tiny wins and goals. And it doesn't matter what it is. It really doesn't. If it's just go, instead of driving down, I live on a, like I said, I got pretty far long driveway and stuff. It's like 120 feet. And instead of just picking up the mail whenever I get home, how about I park the car, feed the dogs, love on them, then walk down the mailbox and just feel the sun on my body, you know? It's important to take these little tiny wins and then you're going to track them. You know, today I went out and did this. It's what agoraphobes and people that have obsessive compulsive disorders and stuff do too. Is they try to not do the thing that's bad for them. They try to go out a little bit further. They try to go a little bit more the next time. And so that's what we need to try to do, men, because you know I think men in general, we don't have the social networking that women do. Women will, you know, whenever they leave a man, or even when the man leaves them, there's this flock, this herding that happens around them. They get insulated, and people, you know, their families will cut the dude off, and all that. This has been my experience. You know, the families will cut the guy off, and they'll flock around the woman, and they'll insulate her into this bubble to where she's protected the whole time. Oh, girl, you know how bad he was? Oh my God, I'm so glad he's a loser. You got to go after everything. And it's just like they become so crazy and vindictive and want to hurt the other guy. But the guys, for some reason, we just don't really do that. You know what I mean? Our friends, our best friends will probably hug you, hey brother, man, it's messed up. Oh man, I'm so sorry, you know. But we don't insulate. And I'm guilty of it too. I've helped a lot of guys get through divorce and stuff, but did I call them every single day and check on them every single day? No, because the presumption is, and it's messed up even on my end, but the presumption is they're gonna be all right. They're dudes, you could get through that, man. You're gonna handle that shit. You know, so progressive overload is the thing where men, I think in general, absolutely without a doubt, could use that as a victory. And it's the marking of events and goals and situations that you're uncomfortable doing and things that you know that are probably good for you, or at least things that are going to be breaking a fear. Going out and looking at something, going out to, God, I don't like going to the mall, but let's say you're going to Costco. You know, stop ordering off of Amazons and go get your ass down to Dillard's or something and go looking for some clothes and, you know, go out and have the sun. You got to get sun on your body, man. I'm telling you right now, like yesterday we went out to the company had a company luncheon to celebrate what a goal that we achieved, you know, the progressive overload stuff. And it was out on the deck, it was out in the water. It's called Garlic Brothers. It's in Stockton. And the sun was on my back and we were outside and it just, my God, man, it felt so good. And, you know, I've been coming out of my shell so much, my progressive overload, my goals to be able to achieve. So I've been coming out of my shell so much. I was back to who I was in that moment, I was 100% back to who I was, and I was shining. I was funny. I was enjoying it. Everybody was laughing and stuff. And I was like, wow, look around here, man. You know what? People are like, they're going, oh, look at, they were calling me hunk because, I've started to change the appearance and change my style and stuff like that. And I'm working on all kinds of different things. Oh, look at this hunk, because I have my cool little glasses on, my aviator glasses and stuff. And, it really is good to try to break some barriers and get out and do things whenever you're so isolated. So the term today, again, is going to be progressive overload, guys. I want you to be able to physically write down something if you have to. Don't just put it in your head, because we'll get lazy and we'll backtrack and we'll start watching reruns of MASH or something like that. And, for those of you that drink, that's the worst thing to do, man. Don't get into that where you're just drinking your life away, because that's horrible. As men, we get older and it happens really quick and it happens really fast. And unfortunately, women have got options. They just do. They may not find a good dude, but they got options to find men. And they can go out fast. They can go out dating websites, or 50 guys to one woman. Gyms are 50 guys to one woman. So your time is very crucial, man, on how fast you could heal through this. And I mean in a right way, though, too, because I don't want you guys to fake stuff and pretend stuff and bury it and stuff like that. I want you to walk through this pain. As hard as it seems like it's going to be, and as impossible as the outcome is going to be. And everybody always says time heals all pain, all wounds and stuff like that. And it is true. But if you think about that really hard, like I want you to, and you think about, hey, you know what? I only have so much time. I only have so much time. Everybody only has so much time. But as a man, you really only have so much time to figure out what you're going to do. Again, your wife is 6 months ahead of you, or a year ahead of you already. They've already embarked into their next life already. And you're stuck in the cinder and the ashes of what you thought was an okay marriage. And you're going to be bewildered. You don't even know what to do. First is the shock and the denial, like we talked about, the sixth stage of grief nobody talks about. I did a video on that a little bit ago. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I don't know how to do that yet. I'll put the link up here. I don't know how to do that crap yet, so don't worry about that. And I don't know if I'll ever get to that point. I might get better lighting or something like that. But for the most part, I just want to keep it raw. And maybe I'll edit later on. But you are behind the 8 ball already, and you are left in the dust. The whole world that you thought was there is gone. And you got to move quick, man. You got to move quick. You got to protect yourself. You got to protect your heart. You protect your spirit, protect your body. You got to protect your future, because time is of the essence. And if you don't use some of these principles, you're going to be looped into a quagmire of where you're stuck for a year or maybe even 2. You're going to spend 6 months thinking you can fix this or save her or save your marriage and this and that. And there might be instances where it can happen, but you're going to have to look at the signs. Like I told you the other day too, you're going to have to look at the signs that's happening, because love is an action word. And if there's no action come from the other side, you need to take action, man. You really need to build your life and start doing it as soon as possible. And using the progressive overload method, I think, is a tangible way to really figure out even if you had to do like a mind mapping or a chart of where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing. And it's good because also too, it consumes up time. Get down there and just start brainstorming on something. Get a piece of paper, big piece of paper, and just get different colored pens or something like that, and start etching out what you want to do, where you need to be, how you got to get there, what you're going to do. If you got underage kids or something and they're still living with you, what do you want? I know you want to. It's easy to say I want to be in their life. Okay, but that's you're not making a plan. You're wishing on something. But how are you going to do that? How are you going to go into court and say, hey, I deserve 50% custody. I deserve 70% custody. I deserve whatever it is that you think is right, that you can handle, that's good for the children too. Don't do it out of vindictiveness, because that's, you never use the kids as a weapon. If you have kids, never use the kids. Never use family as a weapon. That's horrible. Telling the kids bad thing about their mom is horrible, or vice versa, and then telling your family not to talk to somebody, that's horrible. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. Matter of fact, make sure that if you do talk to family, you say, hey, look, I need to vent to you, but I don't want you to judge her. You know what I mean? I want the relationship that you built in your family. If your family's cool, they'll understand that 100%, because no matter what, that was still their daughter-in-law, their mother-in-law, their sister-in-law, for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, whatever it was. That should be a separate relationship. Unless it's some really, really, really hurtful stuff that she did, then screw her. You know what I mean? She doesn't deserve that respect. But ultimately, you have to honor the love that you guys shared. So back to the progressive overload is that I want you guys to mind map it. I want you guys to brainstorm it. I want you to create a vision board. I want you to be able to have ideas of where you want to be, because you have to start focusing on that fast. Don't stay in the funk. Get out of that as soon as you can, you guys. And don't stay in the kissing her ass stuff and chasing pipe dreams and thinking that you're going to be able to work this out. And don't stay into, I'm going to change me to fix her, to fix us, to have her come back, to make her love me. That's all pipe dream crap too, man. You got to get past that. You got to get past that. The best thing to do is start working on yourself. The best thing to do is start worrying about your future. The best thing to do is figure out your vision, because time is of the essence, man. I'm telling you again, like I said, she's 6 to 8 to 1 year already ahead of you. You got to catch up fast, because you don't want to be in that funk for so long. And the longer you're in that funk, I think the more damage you have. Now, in my case, I was in the funk and I was compressed really tight in that funk. But I understood the progressive overload. Again, this is something I just kind of made up. But I understood the progressive overload model. And I was like, okay, I've got to write this out. How do I get healed? How do I start moving? How do I rediscover Corey? Not reinvent. I don't want to say reinvent, because there's nothing wrong with you. You can just make yourself better. You know, obviously, whoever left you loved you and fell in love with you and was willing to be with you for every amount of time. So you have value. 100%. You're a valuable man. You're a protector. You're a provider. It's in your heart. Maybe you failed and got lazy or something like that, but get back on that horse and start riding it. But you have value. There's no reinventing. There's reunification. There's regrounding, but no reinventing. You don't need to do that. You could build upon, like I build upon my style. I build upon my health. But those are things I already kind of cared about. I already cared about what I looked like to a degree. I already cared about my style, as in clean clothes without holes in them and stuff. But I upped it a lot more this year, in the last like 3 months anyhow. And that's what you're going to do too. But that's part of the progressive overload too. What do you want to do to make yourself feel more masculine, more attractive? What do you want to do to be able to feel more inviting towards other people and eventually other women? You know, what do you want to do to get your sexy on, to where you could walk with pride in yourself, you know? And I know, like in one of my first videos, I talked about this lady who was all saying purpose. You know what I mean? Like the man that walks in purpose. I don't think I fully still understand it, and that's what I said in the video then. But I do think I can understand that there's other things that are going on in your life that are purposeful, and therefore you have purpose in your life. So you just have purpose, and maybe that gives off an essence, and maybe that's what she was talking about. That's about the closest I can identify with that, because there is some things that's changed inside of me too, without a doubt. There's things that change inside of me, and people are seeing it. They're like, "Oh my God, you're glowing. You're doing so good. You know, what's going on? Oh my God, you seem like you're healthier. You're shining. Your eyes are brighter. You're moving around." And again, guys, literally, the 27th of this month was only 90 days when she moved out. Only 90 days ago. Only 90 days ago, from a almost 17-year marriage. You know, and it wasn't because I didn't love her. It's because I believed in myself. I had to start believing in myself. I didn't at the beginning. But every minute of every day, I created vision boards. I created purpose. I created goals. I created steps. I didn't have the installation of people around me. What I did is I had enough dignity to reach out to people, places, and go to people and establishments and institutions like churches and stuff like that. And that's what I needed to do. And that's what I want you guys to do too. So I want you to remember that the term for today is going to be progressive overload. Each time you get to a certain boundary, push it a little bit more. Each time you get to that boundary, push it a little bit more. Start with something, just anything that makes you feel good about yourself, or anything that takes your mind off of what you're doing that's positive, that's constructive, because I don't want you to do things that are going to hurt your soul, because we can do that all day long. Your soul's already damaged, guys. You don't have to inflict more wounds on your body and your mind and your spirit. You don't have to do that. You are in control from that point forward. You're in control with what you do to yourself. You may not be in control of what happened in the marriage and how you feel about it and what she might have done to you and your self-esteem and your ego and crashing you and crushing you and breaking you and all that stuff. You don't have control of that, but you have control of how is Corey going to treat Corey? You know, whatever your name is, it doesn't matter. But how is Corey going to resurrect this guy and come up like a phoenix rising out of the ashes? Don't like the word reinvent. Let's not use that. But every time you reach a goal, figure out a long-term one. Like mine is, I want to have self-esteem. I want to be attractive. I want to be healthy. I want to figure out a good place to live. That's a long-term one because this house still won't be sold for like 90 days to 4 months maybe. But I already have a vision on that. And it's going to be closer to cities because I live in this small little town and there's nothing going on. And that's been good for me now because they couldn't get distractions. And that's one blessing I thought was a curse, but it is a blessing because I didn't have distractions. I didn't go to clubs. I didn't go to single bars and stuff like that. There was nothing to do up here. So I was just in the funk and dealt with it. And I had to make a plan. So my goal now is I do want to get closer to like Sacramento or live in Sacramento, which is county at least, because I want to go to where there's singles going hiking, going this and that. And that's perfect timing because I don't want to do it now, really, although maybe I'll go and try to join some, and then maybe once a month or once every 2 weeks or 3 weeks I can go. But whenever I'm emotionally ready to start really putting myself out there, and that'll be on God's time whenever that happens, and it'll happen organically. That's one thing I don't want to like say, okay, by March 13th, I got to have a woman. Don't do that because you know how it was. You didn't find this woman on the timeline that you were just now with. Yeah, that's what you didn't do. You didn't say August 23rd of 97, I'm going to find this person and we're going to fall in love and we're going to be together. That didn't happen. If it did, I don't know how you did it, but don't do it again, obviously. But so I want you to practice progressive overload. Don't just visualize, physically put it together on paper. If you have to, put it on paper. And then there's a long-term goal that you want to get to, and then take the progressive overload of everything that you need to get there. Nobody loses 30 pounds in a week. They lose 30 pounds in 6 months or whatever. You could starve yourself and lose it, but the healthy way to do it is probably like around, 5 to 7 pounds a month, something like that, maybe 1 pound, 2 pounds a week. But you got to get there, right? That's what you got to do. You got to get there. So you have to create a vision board. You have to create progressive overload in the opposite way, like progressively don't eat that sundae on a weekend. Don't eat that pizza on a Saturday. Don't eat that, cupcake Oreos or ice cream thing on a Sunday morning either. You have to be careful about some of the stuff. I make those mistakes. I eat crap every now and then, but I work out hard and every now and then I'm going to reward myself. So create a vision board. I want you to work on that. And I want you to know that no matter what, you're worth it. You don't have to reinvent yourself. Just rebuild, rediscover, rehone, reconstitute, and then move on from there. Use some of these techniques. I'm telling you, they work for me. Again, I may be like the 1 out of 100 guys or 1,000 or 1 million dudes that have been able to do it this quick, this fast, but it worked for me, and I'm telling you what worked for me. I'm telling you, I'm sharing my soul with you guys so you know, one, there's hope, there's a way, and it works. Because it worked for me. Love you guys.